Underwater stars T.J. Miller, Kristen Stewart, and Vincent Cassel. I don't know why I said T.J. Miller first, even though Kristen Stewart's like the main character in this movie. Anyway, what is Underwater about? It's pretty simple. They're drilling in this crevice in the Pacific Ocean, and they're drilling 7 miles below the surface with an additional something else. But they're drilling, and you know what they're drilling? Monsters are coming out of the core of the earth, and what they got to do, they got to survive. If they don't get up to the surface, they die. Pretty simple. It's basically a space movie, but at the bottom of the ocean, which kind of makes sense because they're both basically you can't do anything because you're literally at the bottom of the ocean 7 miles below in water. So what I like about this movie starts strong. I mean, when I say it starts strong, Kristen Stewart, brushing her teeth, bam, something's happening. Like, it literally kicks off running, like you're Usain Bolt. You're just starting going crazy at this movie. And there's not a lot of let up. There's maybe a let up where they're walking at the middle of the ocean. But other than that, it's basically nonstop craziness with this movie. And that's what I like about this movie. It is a movie which, even though Kristen Stewart had that short hair, kind of like this, you could tell this movie was made first. Then like Charlie's Angels and that one where she's like that actress from the Midwest in that revolutionary movie with Anthony Mackie and Vince Vaughn. I can't remember that name. But you could tell this movie was shot first. And I did do some research. I think it was shot in 2017. And this, of course, was a Fox release. And it's probably been sitting on the shelves because of the whole merger with them and Disney. And Disney finally just threw it on a January release, try to make some money with it. Which is a bummer because it's actually a pretty good movie. It is, like I said, if you saw the first reaction, is the mix of, to me, Life with Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal. A mix of Cloverfield and a mix of Alien. And it, of course, it mixes it and you have like these different ideas. But it doesn't mean it's a bad movie. Like, it kicks off running. There's actually some pretty good character design, pretty good CGI, good deaths. Some of the deaths that happen, like, you're like, oh, shit, that just happened? And you're just like, okay, we're going there. And I wonder if they're trying to maybe push an R rating, but then I realized probably not, since the director did The Signal with Lawrence Fishburne as well, and that was another PG-13 movie that was very different and unique. And same with this one. Kristen Stewart does good. All the actors do good. The environment's good. The CGI is good. I mean, it's an overall good story, good 94 minutes. Of course, there is, even though it's 94 minutes, there is some pacing issues. The part where they're walking across the ocean and some believable factors and uniqueness at the very end of some of the slow-mo choices they choose as well, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I love me some slow-mo, but the choices where they decided to do it is very unique and different. Like, I understand the very first scene, the end scene, but stuff in between, you're like, okay, I kind of see that. But I do wish, like I said, the deaths in this movie are pretty cool, and they did remind me of Life, but then that reminds me, when I keep saying that, this was probably filmed before Life and before Cloverfield Paradox, not the first Cloverfield, because the monsters do look like that. It's very unique, different designs. I guess you could say that there are issues with this movie. You don't really know the characters. You know the story. You know that they're there. You don't have backstory with any of the characters, which I kind of wish you had a little bit more backstory with some of the characters. It's more of like, you know, Kristen Stewart pulls something out of a jacket and you're like, oh, I understand that now, and that's it. But I do wish why or how these creatures were there. They kind of do these newspaper articles in the beginning and the end of the movie, like the beginning of like, there are some sightings, but, you know, the organization refuses or says it's all a myth, yada, yada, yada. And they kind of do the same at the end, and they're going to continue doing what they're doing. But I just wish they actually showed what they're doing or how these monsters came into play. Like, why are they staying at the bottom of the ocean? Why haven't they come to the surface or not? But overall, I mean, those are just my personal pet peeves of story. But this is a movie that should be doing good in the box office, in my opinion. It's a good January sci-fi release. And every person I've talked to said, yeah, it's a fine movie. Like, it's a movie you expect. It's a 94-minute horror sci-fi movie that you could put on and enjoy. So, yeah, there's that. Underwater will receive a 3.5 out of 5 with Futon. It goes at 70%. See the critics' news scores gave this film. Here we go. Refresh. Critics, a 52% with 84 of them. Audience scores 67 with 73. And here's critic consensus. Underwater's strong cast and stylish direction aren't enough to distract from the strong sense of deja vu provoked by this catastrophic thriller's derivative story. Agree, disagree. I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, it might seem familiar, but there's enough differences for it to be its own movie. So I can't really say it's deja vu. Yeah, of course, it kind of feels this way, but, I mean, how many movies are made nowadays? And it's very hard to actually have a real original. This was underwater, monsters. It's unique, different. Yes, it might feel like an alien, but you know what? It works for this movie. So anyway, shut up, phone. Do you agree with my, what did I say, 70, 67, or 52? Chase out the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One more thing is Booftonian, you Booftonians. Thanks for watching and have a great day. And I gotta see like a boss now.